Henry of Carinthia, a member of the House of Gorizia, became King of Bohemia, Margrave of Moravia and titular King of Poland in 1306 and again from 1307 until 1310. He also was Duke of Carinthia and Margrave of Carniola as well as Count of Tyrol from 1295 until his death. Life. Henry was a younger son of Meinhard II of Gors-Tyrol and Elizabeth of Wittelsbach, daughter of Duke Otto II of Bavaria and widow of King Conrad IV of Germany. Upon the partition of the Meinhardner estates in 1271, his father maintained the Tyrolean lands. In 1276 Meinhard married his daughter, Henry's sister Elizabeth, to Albert of Habsburg, son of King Rudolf I of Germany, and was in fraught with the princeless Duchy of Carinthia in 1286. After his father's death in 1295, Henry ruled in the Tyrolean and Carinthian estates, at first jointly with his brothers Otto and Louis, until he outlived them. He secured his position by supporting his brother-in-law Albert I of Habsburg, who thereby was able to defeat rivaling Adolf of Nassau at the 1298 Battle of Gohlheim and was elected King of the Romans in the same year. He also helped King Albert to lay siege against Count Palatine Rudolf of Wittelsbach at Heidelberg in 1301. King of Bohemia. However, tensions with the House of Habsburg arose when in 1306 Henry married Anna Przemysłowna, the elder sister of King Wenceslaus III of Bohemia. In the same year, the last Przemyslid ruler prepared for a military campaign against Poland and appointed his brother-in-law Bohemian regent. Upon Wenceslaus' assassination on August 4, Henry was elected his successor by the Bohemian nobility, against the will his former ally King Albert I of Germany, who were intended to install his eldest son Rudolf of Habsburg on the Bohemian throne. King Albert's troops immediately campaigned Bohemia, besieged Prague and deposed Henry, who had to yield to the superior forces. Rudolf of Habsburg was never accepted by the Bohemian nobles, and after his death on the 4th of July 1307, Henry was elected King of Bohemia again. On the 15th of August, another attack by King Albert was rejected and the threat by the Habsburg dynasty finally fell apart with his assassination in 1308. However, Henry's rule was not stabilized. He turned out to be a weak and wasteful ruler, while the new German King Henry VII from the House of Luxembourg also had cast a covetous eye on the Bohemian kingdom. In 1310 he arranged the marriage of his eldest son John with Elizabeth Przemysłowna, the younger sister of the deceased King Wenceslaus III. Backed by local nobles and his father, John campaigned Bohemia in October. He captured Prague on the 3rd of December and deposed Henry from the second time. John was crowned king the next year, while Henry was forced to retire to Carinthia, where Anna Przemysłowna died without children in 1313. Retirement. Henry at least managed to retain Carinthia and Tyrol by reconciliation with the Habsburg dynasty, ceding the Savinja Valley to the Styrian Duchy. He nevertheless was not able to acquire the Carinthian estates that were held by the prince-bishops of Bamberg with the consent of Emperor Henry VII. Despite his deposition, he insisted on the title of heir King of Bohemia and the involved electoral dignity. He took part in the 1314 double election of the Rex Romanorum at Frankfurt, voting for the Habsburg candidate Frederick the Fair. His contested right to vote was one of the reasons for the ambiguous result, as Henry's rival John of Luxembourg gave the Bohemian vote to Louis IV of Wittelsbach. After the 1322 Battle of Mühldorf, Henry helped to arrange an amicable settlement between the competitors. Marriage and issue. Henry was married 3 times. In 1306, he married Anna Przemysłowna. This marriage produced no children. In 1313, he wed Adelaide of Brunswick, daughter of the Welsh Duke Henry I of Brunswick-Grubenhagen. This marriage produced two daughters, Adelaide, Margaret Maltash, Countess of Tyrol from 1335 to 1363. In 1327, he married Beatrice, daughter of Count Amadeus V of Savoy. This marriage produced no children. Henry also reconciled with the House of Luxembourg and in 1330 married his daughter Margaret off to King John's son John Henry. Since he was the last male heir of the Tyrolean Meinhardner dynasty, he attempted to maintain the possessions, but ultimately failed. Even though Emperor Louis IV, in return for Henry's mediation in the dispute with Frederick the Fair, had assured him in 1330 that his daughter could succeed him, Louis reneged on his promise in a secret treaty with the House of Habsburg in the same year. After Henry's death in 1335, the Austrian Duke Albert II of Habsburg and his brother Otto IV the Merry took control of Carinthia and Carniola. Henry's daughter Margaret could only succeed him in Tyrol, but in 1363 had to bequeath her land to Albert's son Rudolf IV of Habsburg as well. Ancestry.